Okay, so there's a company called 𝗗𝗶𝗿𝗲𝗰𝘁, and they're a title company. They have a Facebook group that's amazing, provides a lot of resources for real estate agents, and they give us a peek inside of what's going on in transactions that are happening in their title company. Now, the reason why title companies have better data for this stuff than real estate agents is because real estate agents have the MLS. I don't know what happens inside of the contract. And so 𝗗𝗗𝗿𝗲𝗃 posts these little tidbits of what was happening during their contracts. And in Reston, which is where one of their offices is located, 2 of the 10 contracts price was lower than the asking price, right? So that means 7 higher than asking price, 0 subject to home inspection. This home inspection thing is crazy because this means that buyers are going to see a property for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, maybe 20 minutes, and then they are putting a contract on a property that's, let's say, $600,000, $700,000, $1.2, $1.3 million, no home inspection. I think that this is maddening. I just don't feel comfortable telling my clients not to do home inspections. I just don't feel comfortable. I don't know what these other agents are doing to do this kind of stuff. This is just wild to me. Like how do you make a $700,000, $1 million decision through a 15-minute walkthrough, 20-minute walkthrough? This is crazy. And I also know, because we've been competing a lot of these buyers aren't doing walk and talk inspections. So walk and talk is where you actually do like a modified home inspection with a home inspector before you place your offer on the property. So the home inspector will check out the HVAC system. They'll look at the electrical panel. They'll also look at the roof, just your major system, the hot water heater, just major systems. And then they'll say, hey, look, based on what I see, I don't see any problems. Or they have these problems you should know about, right? The age of the HVAC unit, whether or not the shingles or the roof looks like it's in disrepair. Those things are important because some of those items are, $5, $7, $10, $15,000 deals. But since people are not doing home inspections, that means that buyers are taking on the liability, the risk of if anything happens in the future, you're just going to have to pay for it. So if you're one of those buyers, you should automatically have maybe like $30,000 to $50,000 saved just in the event that components for your property, the home that you're buying, are not up to snuff. Sellers right now know that buyers are paying premium prices and waiving home inspection. And because sellers know this, they're not going through the same steps to put the house on the market as they did in the past. So you just have to know that. If you go into a competitive market or a competitive area and this is happening, just know that. Now, 2 of the 10 are subject to financing. That means that financing contingencies were in place, which means that if the house doesn't appraise or the buyer isn't able to get financing, they can back out or they could void the contract and receive their earnest money deposit. But 8 out of 10 waive their financing contingency. Now, this financing contingency thing, sometimes buyers make this out to be a bigger deal than it really is. If you're putting a large down payment down, then this isn't as big of a deal because you're going to be covering the difference between the sales price and your loan amount anyway. So this could not be as big of a deal. And also your lender will be able to adjust things with your loan based on whatever the loan to value is. And then again, 2 out of 10 subject to appraisal. That's also kind of tied with that financing contingency part. 0 are all cash, which I think a lot of people are surprised that a lot of our market is not all cash. We just happen to have people who I would deem them as they're liberal, but they are fiscally conservative. So they have large down payments and they also have a lot of education, which means they have higher positions in companies. And so those individuals we don't have like Silicon Valley rich people here. Like we just have people who have master's degrees, MBAs, or PhDs who make good money and they have a substantial savings. And so then they could buy more expensive houses. Last thing on this little graph I want to talk about is the post-settlement occupancy. So 2 out of 10 had a $0 post-settlement occupancy. Post-settlement occupancy, that is also known as a rent back. And that's what I guess real estate agents call it. So if you ever talk to your agent and they say, this is how much the rent back is, they're really talking about post-settlement occupancy. That is where the buyer lets the seller stay in the property or agrees to let the seller stay in the property for some type of cost. Usually when it's not competitive, usually you charge the seller whatever your mortgage payment is, right? So don't believe that lie too, that sometimes title companies, real estate agents, and lenders will say, you don't have to pay for your first month of living in your property because your first mortgage payment isn't due for another 45 days or the following month or something like that. You pay for that when you close. So at the closing table, that's sort of like your first month's payment. There's no free lunch here. The lender isn't doing you a favor, right? And so oftentimes, at least with my clients, I will try to get them in a position to where we offer the seller 30 days without any type of charge, because my clients are usually transitioning. They're already comfortable where they are. And then that makes our offer a little bit more favorable. But once you get past that 30 days, you're now going to feel that first note, that first mortgage payment. And so you're going to be paying to stay where you are and where the seller is currently living. So if you do a $0 post-occupancy agreement, post-settlement agreement, just know that you're going to be paying to live two places. Another thing to consider is that when you're thinking about your offer consists of all of the things that are valuable, right? So you have, if you do a home inspection or not, if you remove a contingency, if you offer a certain amount of money, if you agree to pay some of the seller's expenses, and this is one of those expenses, okay? You have to factor that in to your offer. So if your mortgage payment, let's say on a $900,000, $800,000 property, your mortgage payment is $6,000 a month, and giving the seller a 30 to 60 day post-settlement occupancy agreement with no cost, that means that you are giving them, right? You're not handing it over to them, but you're giving them $6,000 a month. So $12,000 for the next 2 months, right? So that's how your offer is better than the next person. And then, of course, the last little nugget of information right here is that there were no seller concessions. There's no seller concessions. Thank you all so much for watching. If you're ready to start the home buying process, there's a link in the description to the Perfect Home Questionnaire. Fill out that form and we will schedule a time to meet online via Zoom to answer any and all of your questions. And I will see you all on the next video. Peace.